Welcome everybody to another episode of the Charlie West Wrestling Show, the show where we talk about the things that we like or maybe don't quite like as much about wrestling.
Lots to say.
Absolutely. I am Charlie West. This is my co-host for today, the Supreme Ozzy Blaze. And we are going to actually do another positive list today, aren't we?
Okay.
We're going to talk about our 10 favourite non-wrestlers. So these could be wrestlers that maybe have had the odd wrestling
That
match.
doesn't make them a wrestler, though.
Yeah.
A personality, they started as a personality, and they eventually had matches.
Yes. So when you think of them, you don't think of them as a wrestler. You think of them as a personality, as someone who had a positive influence on the wrestling business without that being because of what they did in the ring.
Right.
Because I think with the exception of... one person here has maybe had a wrestling match that you could call worth a damn.
Yeah.
On my list.
Okay.
So as always, we do a top 10. I'll start with number 10. We'll alternate. We'll talk about how right my list is, how wrong your list is.
Haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
You've been getting dummied.
And if anything doubles up, we reveal that later on the list. I think this is a list where I think there's only maybe 15 or 20 candidates in total for a top 10 for something like this.
We say that all the time, though.
True, but I think this is one. I think
all right.
I think there's going to be 6 crossovers.
I'll take the under.
Okay. So, my number 10. My number 10 is Paul Bearer.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I fucking hate him, but...
I mean, you hate him as a...
But I know. I just hated him, but he was also good. I look back.
Yeah.
At the time, I hated him as a kid.
I can see that.
But yeah, he's a really good character.
But he was someone he made The Undertaker. The Undertaker didn't talk for how many years?
You're right.
And not only that, I feel like Paul Bearer is half the reason that Kane exists, right? That they want to bring Paul Bearer away from the Undertaker, but they still want to give Paul Bearer a job.
I hated him as a kid, but that means he was good. He was effective. Yeah. Paul Bearer is good. My number 10, I got Sable.
Sable, interesting.
And just because. I wasn't I didn't love Sable so much when I was a kid, but she brought a lot of eyeballs to WWE at a time, WWF, at a time when that's the kind of thing, they had Austin going, Rock. Sable was one of the big parts.
Yeah.
That brought a lot of horny teenagers into WWF.
The conspiracy is that, WWF had no interest in Mark Merrow, right? They just wanted to bring
I think I've heard that. Yeah, I think I've heard that.
That they just wanted Sable.
And they were right.
Yeah, and that's what it was. She
Mark
ended up power bombing him or something, right?
Yeah, WrestleMania 14, that was good. But that's why she's a non-wrestler, but as much as I don't like her, she's number 10.
Yeah.
I think she was important for the time she was there.
But hilariously, a non-wrestler who I believe has the second best WrestleMania undefeated streak now. I think she's 3-0 at WrestleMania.
Sable?
Yeah.
3-0, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
But
maybe. Who's your number 9?
My number 9 is... in the same, this is a weird number 9 for me because I was thinking, this person didn't really ever do any wrestling matches. They weren't a good talker.
Okay.
They weren't really any, but still, they're just part of some of the most captivating storylines in the history, especially the first 10 years of WrestleMania wrestling. They were just part of some of the biggest mega powers. Ric Flair, stuff like this. Miss Elizabeth.
Nice.
That and I'm just there being
important, right? She played a big role.
Yeah, exactly. She's so important. She's
the
such
savage
a huge
character.
Yeah. But it's weird because you're there being was she good on the mic? I don't know. I never.
No, she was terrible. She seemed real when she was on the mic. It seemed, and maybe it was all a shoot because she seemed really uncomfortable. And the whole story is that Savage really was obsessed with her. Yeah. The only reason she got into wrestling is because he didn't want to leave her alone when he was on the road.
Exactly.
And he was crazy. The whole time she was there backstage. He was actually like that.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be talking to Elizabeth.
Yeah, and that.
You're talking to Elizabeth.
The pop she would get. The pop she got at WrestleMania 6 when she was
good
announced.
Good performer.
The stuff with Randy at the end of the WrestleMania 7 match, it was just she just elicited an emotion.
And then she went to WCW as well. She was part of that.
And it was just I'm there being I don't know why, but she is absolutely iconic.
I think if it wasn't for Elizabeth, she was the first hot chick that was in wrestling, right? There was female wrestlers, but she was the first non-wrestler that became a big character.
Right, it was her and then maybe Sunny 10 years later, right?
There might have been a few others, but Sunny was a big one too. It's I thought of Sunny. She could have made the list. I think Sable was a bit more... I think Sable was bigger than Sunny.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of went Sable over Sunny.
Yeah, I can see that.
But both of them were big in that early Attitude Era. Getting horny teenagers. Because then wrestling didn't feel like it was for kids. It was for teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. It was growing up.
Yeah, yeah. And like it kind of grew up with guys my age. Like when I was a kid, it was for kids. When I was a teenager, it was for teenagers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now it's for guys that live at home with their parents and play Dungeons and Dragons, I think. But like I don't do those things, but like it's for a lot of different people. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
My number 9, back from when I was a kid, Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, I'm out from the South.
He was annoying as fuck, but like what an iconic character. And I haven't seen this, but in the territory days, I don't know which one it was in, somewhere in the South, mouth of the South, right? He was like the biggest act in some of these territories. Like he had a heel stable. It was all about getting heat on Jimmy Hart. As a manager, he was the biggest heel in the territory. I've heard that. I think that's kind of cool.
I can see that, and he's a big name. I feel like for whatever reason I associate him as just being the guy who follows Hogan around, because that's what he's.
I hated him when he was that. Yeah. I hated him when he was like, but apparently they were really friends. But I'm talking like the early stuff when he had the Hart Foundation, then he had Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
He was in the Nasty Boys. Jimmy with the microphone. Jimmy with the megaphone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jimmy was good. He served a good purpose in those early days.
Fair enough.
Early days for me. It wasn't really early days in wrestling.
No, I get that. That's a good shout. My number 8 is this is the closest thing I have to a hipster choice, like in this sense of like because he's someone that possibly you've never ever seen a picture of or seen their face or know what they look like.
So you've never seen them? I wouldn't
know what they look like, but they are absolutely essential to so much of wrestling.
Who?
Jim Johnston.
The music guy.
Yeah.
That's a weird one to choose,
but
though.
It's like he's responsible for Bret Hart's theme, for Shawn Michaels' theme, for Austin.
Do you know where Austin's theme?
Undertaker.
Do you know where Austin's theme came from?
I mean, it sounds like Razor Ramon's, but I don't know if that's the plan.
I just saw a thing the other day. Austin took him Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine and said it's not this, but it's kind of like this. Right. And then he came up with the glass.
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's just
that's the number one theme of all time. You and Tom did that one for me. Austin's theme, number one wrestling theme of all time.
That's fair enough. That's
for sure.
Yeah, but no.
I'm not even saying spoiler alert on your other video with the top music. I'm not on that one. Austin's music, number one.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. And that's the thing that Jim Johnston has made so many.
Okay, it's a weird one, but like I can see your point.
But it's such a big part of wrestling, these entrance themes. So
yeah, he probably was he involved in DXs too?
I don't know about DXs.
It was a band, but he might have been involved.
Yeah.
What are we at here? 8?
Yeah.
Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette, okay.
And to be honest, when I was a kid, I fucking hated him. Like he was a Southern American, so fucking annoying. I hated him. But as a non-wrestler, he's a good personality. Still involved in wrestling. Still he's wrestling adjacent. But
exactly. He's in that weird situation now of being like possibly the most relevant he's ever been, whilst also being the most irrelevant he's ever been.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that this happened. But if you go back and I go back and watch the early NWA stuff, and he is good. Like he's fucking awesome. When I think of when I hated him, that means he was good. Yeah. Like I watch it now and I'm laughing, but as a kid, I'm like, I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. So many of these things, there's a few people on this list who, like when I first came across them, was in the stage of. Not when wrestling was real to me, but when I was still into the whole, I don't know exactly how this is scripted or why these people are doing this.
So you get emotions. You feel some way about someone.
I don't like this person. Like, someone who's not on this list because they're a wrestler, William Regal did that to me. Like, when I first came across William Regal, it's like, wait, this guy's supposed to be from Blackpool? He sounds like he's from public school. Why is he talking like this? Why is he acting like this? Can this guy please just piss off? Okay. And it wasn't because I didn't think he was a good wrestler or a good performer. It was just, that was my visceral reaction as a person who didn't know how wrestling worked quite yet.
Yeah.
To the character.
When you say public school, you mean like a private school. North American is private school.
Yeah.
Private school.
No, a private school is
public school is elementary school in North America.
Oh wow. That's strange.
Yeah. But you mean he was like an upper class.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he was like an aristocrat.
People from Blackpool do not sound like William Regal. Even if William Regal actually is shoot from Blackpool, he doesn't sound like he's from Blackpool.
Well, he's probably gone to like the accent reduction classes. Maybe. They have those in some universities.
It's like, can you please sound British? You sound weird. It's like, I sound British. No, you don't sound British. Please sound.
You don't sound what people want you to sound like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that. So that was Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Right. My number 7 is someone who's had probably some of the worst wrestling matches ever because he's not a wrestler at all. Not even a what?
You?
No, I have main evented. Thank you very much.
One match.
Yeah.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
100% main eventer. Every match I do is a main event, nothing less. No, this is one of the most iconic voices in all of wrestling. Like someone where like when you think of big events, big main events, like you imagine that this voice is who you want announcing you. Like if I could clap my hands and have anyone announce me to the ring, it's Howard Finkel.
How did I not get the Fink? That's a good one.
Right?
Nice. I love him.
Just like that is wrestling, right? That is one of those things where like 30 years later, when people don't know who Howard Finkel is, they still in their head are like, I want to be a wrestling... Like, I do wrestling announcing.
Do you know that he came up with WrestleMania, the name? WrestleMania was Howard Finkel's... Vince wanted to call it the Colossal Tussle.
Yes, what a great name that was.
And Howard Finkel was like, what about WrestleMania?
Yeah. It's like, we'll go with that.
The Fink.
No, because even me, like, when I got invited to start doing intros and wrestling intros, the first thing was like, the following is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. It's like doing it exactly, like doing as close to Howard Finkel as I can do.
Because that's a classic wrestling announcer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I can't believe I don't have him. My number 7's easy. I had Miss Elizabeth too. You got her a bit lower. I had her a bit higher because, you know, it's true. Well, everything we said. So let's go to 6.
Yeah. So my number 6 is... in the way that Howard Finkel is the classic intro, this to me is the classic interview guy.
We might have the same guy.
Classic backstage.
We might have the same one here.
Mean Gene Okerlund.
Same.
Is that your number 6?
Yeah.
It's like this guy was so good at his job that when he sadly passed away and WWE brought Hogan on to do the eulogy, even though Hogan was in the middle of like, this was just after he had the whole being cancelled for being racist and people didn't want to do, he was there going, look, I know I'm Hulk Hogan, and I know this, I want to talk about Mean Gene. And he did a whole pretend promo of like, let me tell you something, Mean Gene, when you're up there with this and that.
It was good.
And it just worked everyone because it was just so...
People forgot about him being racist and they're like, wow, we still love Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, well, they just
And it's also for Mean Gene.
They loved him talking about Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
Like, there was a whole thing. Like, they had...
I've never seen that. I've never seen... Oh, they were great. Like, I got Mean Gene too, number 6.
Yeah.
Mean Gene is just like... He was so good at his job. I've seen pictures. He used to actually wrestle in AWA before Hogan came to Vince. Like, just Gene Okerlund came with Vince, or came with Hogan.
Right.
From Minnesota to work with Vince. Gene Okerlund was a part of that. And Heenan too. Heenan was Nick Bockwinkel's manager.
Right, okay.
Who, like, I imagine I should like Nick Bockwinkel better as a big heel.
Right.
Haven't seen enough of it. But those guys were those Minnesota guys. Gene Okerlund, he was with them.
Yeah.
And he was awesome.
So for me, Mean Gene Okerlund is just like, he is the interviewer. Like,
yeah.
No matter who you've got,
absolutely.
like, just... And that was back when they let interviewers like have a character, have a personality.
Yeah.
Like, he did skits with Hogan, right? He did the whole like, I'm going to be a Hulkamaniac. I'm going to be the...
Even like, I've watched like the TV from early like 86 and he's on those TV shows. He's kind of like the host of their syndicated TV show.
Yeah.
He's like going to the zoo and talking to Kamala, like weird shit, like going to mansions and talking to... I don't think it was Ted DiBiase, but like some guy who was meant to be famous. Him and Heenan, they're like the main characters on the early TV shows.
Yeah. So no, that's my. So that was also your number 6.
Yeah. Before we go to 5, should we do some honorable mentions?
Do you want honorable mentions now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Because one of these will upset you.
Okay.
Give
me that one first.
Give me that one first. Now this is one because I accept that this guy has been terrible for long runs of his run.
Yeah.
But when he's on it, he is genuinely so much better than people give him credit for. Okay. And when he doesn't have Vince McMahon in his ear, he can really, really call a good match. It's Michael Cole.
Okay.
Like,
well then fine. I'll give I'm not even going to talk about him. I hate Michael Cole. My honorable mention, Joey Styles.
Joey Styles?
Talking about a good announcer.
Well, the only announcer that ever pulled off being on their own at the commentary table.
Yeah. So I think they should have replaced Joey Styles with Michael Cole a long time ago, but they didn't.
Yeah, no,
here's my best honorable mention.
Yeah,
give my best one now, China, because I was gonna put China in, but is China a wrestler? China was more a wrestler, I think. Than
I think she's a wrestler that did a lot of like in the same way that like there's an argument you could put like Rick Rude for DX in the same. So the same.
No, because she started as a manager.
Yeah,
she started as a like escort manager, whatever. So yeah, I don't think that's the same.
Okay. But no, that's
but she turned into a wrestler, and I would have put China over. I think I would have put China maybe 6 or 7 if it counted.
Fair enough.
China was good, especially when she came in. She was hot.
So
I don't mean hot like I was attracted to her, but like the character was hot.
Yeah, she was huge at the time.
She got a bit better, like when X-Pac made the porn with her. She was better than she was when Triple H was fucking her.
Right. So
if you're into that, it's cool. Yeah. So I wasn't, but as a wrestler, badass, the Jack.
Yeah, she was
awesome. Loved it.
Yeah. My other 2 honorable mentions. One I've got is Earl Hebner.
Earl Hebner. Okay.
Because like the one referee that like, you think of, like in the same way that you think of Howard Finkel as being an announcer, you think of Earl Hebner as a referee. Like he did things like obviously some of those things like the screw job.
That's a good one actually. Yeah, you could have put him in.
And the twin, I almost did. He was like
he just doesn't really talk.
Yeah,
he's a part of so many big moments though.
So he's like every big moment for like 25 years. He's there in the picture.
That's true.
So he was like my number 2. My number 11 is. This is one who technically is a wrestler, technically is a Hall of Fame wrestler, but was a Hall of Fame wrestler in probably the 60s or the 70s, and in my head is a commentator.
Who?
Grilla Monsoon.
Yeah, I didn't put Gorilla in or Jesse because of that.
Right.
But yeah, those are good ones.
So Grilla Monsoon was like my 11 because I was there going he's obviously a wrestler. From what I gather, he was a fantastic wrestler for his time.
Apparently he was big,
but,
he was
like
giant.
400 pounds and stuff. He's a gorilla, right? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
But in my head, he's not a wrestler. I've never seen a match. I've never seen him in wrestling
It's almost irrelevant.
Yeah, it's just so before my time, and my time
before anyone's time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got Tony Schiavone, honorable mention.
Yeah.
Not even he's a bad announcer that's good because he's bad. Does that make any sense? Like, he says the stupidest shit. He doesn't know what any of the moves are.
Yeah.
But he's Tony Schiavone. Like, I like him more now than I did back then.
I feel for him in AEW because he's trying his best, but he's got that idiot Excalibur and JR who is like 10 years past his
But then Tony is like bad too, but it's funny.
Yeah.
The other person I got, and I hate this person, Stephanie McMahon. Like, pretty good character. Like, I hate her, and I honestly do hate her. I hate her, like, how she really is in real life, like tries to act all, like virtue signaling and going to all these like we're not bullies after all the like her dad is like said the N-word on WWF, like they make fun of fat people all the time, like and like you hear about the backstage of wrestling, it's all bullying, like screwing people over, fucking with people who have mental health problems, but then they go to school and they're like don't be a bully, and Stephanie is like front and center with all that shit. Like, women can be look at me. It's like, no, that's just nepotism. It doesn't fucking matter that you're a woman. You got this job because you're the boss's daughter.
Yeah.
Fuck
I get
you.
That because
Get off your high horse.
Because I came close with Shane McMahon. For a similar thing of like, but Shane and Stephanie both in my head were like, they weren't wrestlers, but they had big wrestling runs.
Well, Stephanie could be on this list. Like, if she was good, she could be on it. Shane, we decided he wasn't. He was too good to be on this. Like,
is it like he's not a wrestler?
He's more of a wrestler.
The reason that you would put him on the list is because of his wrestling.
He's had good matches.
Yeah.
Stephanie's never had a good match.
Yeah.
She's a wrestling character. I hate her. I didn't want to put her on the list. Is she more important to the wrestling business than Sable? That's what
only because of her surname.
And and she married Triple H. That made him more relevant. But like Sable, I think, in a sense, she drew more money and more attention to the product than Stephanie McMahon ever would. Stephanie just helped Triple H.
Yeah.
Top 5.
So my top 5, I had trouble here, not with who they were going to be, but just the order.
Okay.
I think at any one time, many of these, I think number 1 stays number 1, but 2 to 5, I could argue my number 5 being my number 2, I could argue my number 2 being my number 5, and vice versa. So my number 5 is Paul Heyman.
Okay. Fair enough. That's a good one.
I think Paul Heyman is obviously a fantastic... he's got a fantastic mind. He's got a fantastic voice. He knows how to put people over. He knows how to bury the person he is feuding with without.
But he also made
them.
ECW.
Yeah,
like ECW has good aspects and bad aspects.
Yeah,
but he made a revolutionary product.
Yeah,
like wrestling may have never been. Wrestling needed to have extreme wrestling. Like that whole genre of extreme wrestling was because Heyman made ECW.
Yeah.
So like that's so important to the history of wrestling.
And also the thing that you noticed was like he was like maybe
one of the most important characters in American wrestling history.
And maybe one of the first bookers for that kind of show to feel like this would be better if we brought good wrestlers in to do this. Like, don't just be like, are you willing to have like a pipe hit over your head?
It was a show.
Be like,
there was that, but there was also
it was
good
like,
wrestling.
How about let's have like, when you think about stuff now, like a CCW, GCW, where it's just like, all of it is just gore and gimmicks. Like, GCW now is trying to become ECW of having like real matches plus R1 flagship match.
I don't watch the product, so I don't really know.
But ECW had that thing of like, we'll give you like Sabu and Sandman hitting each other with kendo sticks, but then we'll give you RVD wrestling Eddie Guerrero.
That never happened in ECW. Jerry Lynn or like
But they'll give you like big
You know guys
matches.
that were in ECW, but you don't know the good matches.
No, it was in like ECW happened in that time of my blackout
Right.
wrestling.
But there were good matches in ECW.
But when I
That's
saw,
a good point.
But there were so many great wrestlers that I hear they had a stint in ECW. Steve Austin was in ECW.
And Heyman found ways to work with him.
Yeah.
And then if you look at what Heyman did post ECW,
Yeah.
like that alone,
Yeah.
is enough to get him on this list.
Exactly.
Right?
The fact that he's still able to do all that.
He's still around.
Able to be like, I went toe to toe with Vince McMahon. I lost, but I proved that I am so damn good that I'm still basically front and center.
It's 2022. I don't know how old he is. He's probably in his 60s. He's the manager for the main event guy in the biggest wrestling promotion in the world.
Exactly.
And the whole storyline was who he'd side with, Brock or Roman.
Exactly. It's
he's up there, man. Awesome.
You're number 5.
Jim Ross.
Fair enough. Yeah.
As just legendary announcer. You can say what you want about him right now. You know, he's past his expiration date. He still has his moments, but
Yeah.
and then also he played a lot of behind the scenes. A lot of his sit down interviews are legendary.
Oh, I agree. Like best commentator of all time potentially.
Yep.
And yes, I mean obviously for me, as I just mentioned, like what he's doing right now with AEW is obviously not his best work, but that's a bit like saying The Undertaker's a bad wrestler because the last 5 years of his career he didn't put on good matches. Like it's very disingenuous of like what's going on there.
What he really was like in his prime. Yeah.
Like Jim Ross is what, pushing 70 now, 60, something like that.
I don't think he's that healthy all the time.
No, it's.
But as a person, a wrestling figure, you know, he's too iconic. Like you watch those early '80s NWA, he's all over those too.
Yeah,
and he's really good in those.
And
it really makes it feel like a sport.
And people. Wrestlers now, like commentators, like when they know that something big is happening, you can feel they're trying to get their Jim Ross moment. Like they're trying to get their
soundbite.
As God is my witness, he's broken in half. Like they're trying to get that sound.
And no one gets it right.
No, exactly. You can't do it because you don't know what you're doing. Like that whole, even just when he's just shouting someone's name, like the way that he just shouts, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
I hate the way he does it
Cold,
now. Now it feels forced, but like back then it was cool. I hate when he's like, Darby, Sammy. It's so annoying. He's I don't really love him anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of wish AEW went with something new, but I can see why they went with the thing that was old to attract people.
It's the name, but like...
Yeah.
And how does it, like, whenever Jim Ross was commentating, it felt like he was shoot commentating, even though he obviously was.
Yeah, it feels like he was calling a sport.
Yeah.
And like his early stuff, it really is like he's calling a sport.
Yeah.
So he's good. Yeah, he's my number 5, man.
Okay, so my number 4 is, and I said before that there's one person on my list who has maybe had a good wrestling match.
Okay, here it is.
And this is the one McMahon we haven't mentioned yet. Linda McMahon! No, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Okay.
Vince McMahon is one of the premier characters in all of wrestling. Like the creation of Mr. McMahon, all of that is.
And it was basically by accident.
By accident.
But he was a character before, like these old Saturday Night main events. Vince is there, like he was still a character even back then. You watch those back now. There's Vince.
Yeah.
And he's just doing Vince.
Yeah. But it's just that whole thing of like him becoming that bad guy. That
it's amazing.
There's arguments like no matter how good people are, there's potentially there's no attitude. There's no Stone Cold Steve Austin without Vince McMahon.
He's one of the best heels of all time.
Yeah,
he's one of the best characters of all time.
Even now, when he is 72 and he can't move, he can't talk, he can't react, he doesn't know what he's doing. He forgets everything.
He main events a Mania.
And people will pop it. Like when he was getting off his jacket.
Yeah,
in WrestleMania,
I know. People were going.
I knew it was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I knew that nothing
good in that moment,
yeah.
I'm like, I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Nothing good is coming of this, but I want this.
Yeah.
Like
it's Vince.
It's just because
it's Vince.
It's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is wrestling.
Yeah,
like,
he's Vince.
It's just...
All right. My number 4, Eric Bischoff.
Fair enough.
Follows up. He's a dickhead, but what he was able to do in that short period of time had a massive effect on the wrestling business. You can't... And, like, you watch those Nitros, he's an effective character. If he didn't put himself on camera first, would we have got Vince? Like, that follows up really nicely. I would say probably not.
No, because he was, like... Because legitimately, he was just employed to be a commentator, right? And he just
no, he became the executive producer.
Yeah, but then he got, like,
he moved up.
Booming up ideas, started doing stuff, and he, like, organically...
Moved up and became... I don't know if they even called it a booker then. He was the executive producer of Nitro.
Right.
So I don't know how booking worked, but like obviously he was involved, right?
Yeah.
And people would be like telling him what to do, and he, even if he wasn't the booker, he still said what happened. And Hogan would be like, "Oh brother, let's do this."
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing that now.
No, and he was cool. I mean, like he didn't make my list. kind of because I wasn't a WCW guy,
Yeah.
so the WCW side of things
Part of your
slightly passed
blackout,
me
yeah.
by. I did appreciate his Raw bit. His stuff on Raw, I wish that had lasted longer.
He was still good. He was
thought he was a
annoying.
great-
He worked.
Yeah, he
you
was
know?
a great on-screen
Yeah.
character. And obviously he was excellent. He had that element of, like, the charisma, the attitude, like, he was a...
Smarmy prick.
Yeah. He was
But he also had success. Like he had the resume of he actually made a wrestling company that beat Vince for a bit. Like
Yeah.
it was actual competition.
Yeah, no one ever did that before.
Exactly.
And even with what we're seeing now, it's possible
Legendary.
that no one's going to do it again. Like, it's...
Not to that extent. Like, and you even see what AEW's doing. They have roughly the same amount of money that Turner had to go against.
Yeah.
It's the same network.
Yeah.
And are they going to beat Vince? Vince is
Yeah.
too entrenched now, but
Exactly.
it could become the more popular wrestling in the States. I don't know if it's ever going to become bigger in the world. Which is
No, it's just that thing that no one is ever going to, for nearly 2 years, without fail, beat WWE week after week after week after.
too big. Too big in the net.
Yeah, like even NXT beat AEW every now and again.
No, it didn't.
No, in the ratings.
Oh.
Like, what, no, I'm not
Back
saying
then,
that. Yeah.
on the Wednesday thing.
Yes, when they were Wednesday against Wednesday.
Very
every
rare,
now and again.
very
It was very
rare.
rare. But that's the thing. But WCW did it 83 weeks in a row.
Right.
Like, there wasn't even a one-off week where WWE, like, pulled off.
Right.
So that's what I mean. I'm not saying that the ratings compare, but that just this ability to be able to, like, for almost 2 years straight, be like,
Yeah.
we're going to every single week.
You watch it, it feels like the bigger wrestling show.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it in Canada at the time. Like, it wasn't on TV, so I wasn't living that part until, like, 98, when it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, Nitro's better. And then I started,
Yeah.
oh, it is? Like, and I was catching up. But the shows were good.
Yeah.
So Bischoff, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
that rattled Vince. That made
did.
the Attitude Era happen.
Yeah, exactly. If
Bischoff's been involved in wrestling since.
Yeah.
So I don't agree on all his takes. He got the NWO. That was his idea.
Yeah.
You know, say what you want. Like, they didn't know how to finish it. They didn't know how to, like, capitalize on the ending.
Yeah.
But the idea worked for a long time.
He knew how to push the envelope in the right way.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
And get people talking whilst also producing a product.
And as him as a character as well.
Yeah.
Not only did he influence the business, but he was a character. Like,
Yeah.
he had matches. You paid to see him get beat up. It worked.
Yeah,
All
I
right, let's
agree.
go. Top three.
Okay, so my number 2?
Yeah. No, three.
3. Oh, yes, my number 3. My number 3 is Jim Ross.
Ah, okay.
That's why I forgot, because we've talked about him already.
Yeah,
But
all the same reasons.
But fantastic.
Why'd you have him so
commentator.
high?
Well, because he is so much of the product. Like, I think there are moments in wrestling where if Jim Ross didn't exist, those moments feel less. That, like, he made moments, even huge things, that, like, if you don't have Jim Ross calling Mick Foley falling off the cell, that moment would still be shocking, but it wouldn't be so, I remember it to this day.
So
shocking.
iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the God of moments he's broken in heart, like all those different things. It's just so, like, Jim Ross is...
It's a part of wrestling.
Yeah, he's
It's a
the
part of
voice
those
wrestling.
moments.
Yeah, he's someone where, like, when you think about being a wrestling commentator, you're like, I want to do the Jim Ross thing. Like, I do commentating now.
Are you Jim Ross?
No, I'm nowhere. I can't
No,
be
no,
close,
but that's the thing. Everyone's trying to.
Yeah, it's an element of like,
Yeah.
if I'm a wrestler, I'm trying to cut a promo. I'm Macho Man Randy Savage. If I'm going to the ring, I'm gonna be Ultimate
Goldust.
Warrior or whatever else. Like, but when I'm a commentator, I am Jim Ross.
Okay.
That's just what it is, and just his chemistry with Jerry Lawler, his chemistry with.
Yep. I had him at 5. You had him higher. My number 3 is a guy you already had. We have, the double ups are coming. You said 6. Paul Heyman. I had Heyman in my top 3.
Yeah.
For all the reasons I said, his influence on the business, the way ECW really did change the wrestling business.
Yeah.
And we're still feeling what ECW did. ECW might have had a bigger impact on modern pro wrestling than anything from the 90s.
It's very possible. Like, it definitely.
He brought in the luchas. He was bringing in, like, the Mexican wrestlers. He was bringing in the Japanese wrestlers. ECW, what Heyman did there.
Yeah.
Even though you might watch some of it, doesn't age that well.
Yeah.
It definitely filtered into indie wrestling and what we get now.
The good stuff. It made you feel that, like, you could bring this, what was maybe considered like
Alternative.
outlaw style of wrestling, and you could make it legitimate. You could put it
just
on television.
alternative wrestling, alternative versions of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Which, like, and really, WWE, WWF, it's always been Vince's version.
Yeah.
Right? There's other versions of pro wrestling. WCW, NWA, that was a different version. AEW, I think AEW is good for pro wrestling because it's a different version.
Yeah.
And ECW was really revolutionary, right? Like it was, and Heyman, that was Heyman's idea. Heyman had a lot of ideas. What Heyman did for Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is his package, is his whole aura. Everything about Brock Lesnar. Is it what it is without Paul Heyman?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole story, right? Wasn't it? That like Lesnar was like doing like moonsaults and stuff.
And he was like wearing like wrestling gear, like
and, like, I think
singlets.
it's someone like, I think it may have been Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, like pulled him aside and said like, don't do this for free. What are they doing with you? Like, go and talk to Paul Heyman. And like Paul Heyman like, look this guy up, and like they were like, okay, I'm going to put you with me. We're going to do this right. Because you are not going to break your leg doing a flippy move when you don't need to.
And he almost broke his neck doing it the one time.
The one time he did, yeah.
And Heyman wasn't with him.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Heyman wasn't with him for that run. So, Heyman. All right, number 2.
Fantastic.
Top 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is someone that you've already said.
Okay.
And it's Jim Cornette.
Cornette for number 2 for you.
Because I feel
Surprise.
like it's that element of like, there's a lot about Cornette that I disagree with. I listen to some of the stuff he says because it's everywhere. And some of the stuff he says, it's like, that isn't a good opinion in 1985, and it's definitely not a good opinion in 2022. But the stuff that he hits on the head is absolutely like nail on the head. Like when he.
So are you saying more like you like him more for his commentary now? On commentary on the wrestling business?
No, but I'm more talking about like the mind he has and how he can think about stuff that like.
As a performer, though, where do you rank?
Well, as a performer, he is one of the few people out there that can both be a manager and a commentator. That like, you have people
like for sure, man. Like I have him. I just have him lower on the list. He's not. He's not in this upper echelon.
Because it's such this weird.
Surprised you put him there.
When you think about like JR, best commentator of all time, terrible on the mic.
But you think Cornette's a more important figure to wrestling? Or you prefer him, or do you think he's more important to pro wrestling?
I think he's more important, and
than Jim Cornette, or Jim Cornette's more important than Jim Ross.
Jim Cornette is more important than Jim Ross, and there's one issue that we haven't brought up yet, which is he was OVW during the period when Orton and Batista and Cena those people, and you might just say all those people are freaks of nature, and it's a class, but he put the wrestling mind
Shelton
in
Benjamin,
like,
Rene Dupree, all these guys.
All those people are not just good. All of those people get wrestling, and the reason why all those people get wrestling is because they had someone, a crazy man, but someone
taught them pro wrestling.
Like you sell like this. You make sure you do.
You
this.
Don't do these moves.
You make sure you do this for a reason. You should be this. And I don't think it's a coincidence that for the couple of years that Jim Cornette was in OVW, they produced the best wrestlers
for the next decade
from developmental that WWE ever had. It's unfortunate that
Orton, Cena, Batista, Brock.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
Yeah, like
plus like the other guys, but like that's insane.
Exactly.
That's great. So that's a good one.
I think there's that element of what he does behind the scenes and in front of camera.
Yeah, well, you thought about this different. You did the music guy at 9, so okay, that makes sense that you thought about it that way. My number 2, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Interesting. I would have put money on this being number 1. So
it was my 1 or 2. It was just like Bobby the Brain Heenan again, manager, announcer. What's he better at? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
To me, like Jim Ross is that classic play-by-play. Bobby Heenan's the best announcer of all time, and Jesse Ventura is number 2 for me. Like Jim Ross is there, like he's top 5, but I want to hear Bobby Heenan or Jesse. Not on the same call. That probably wouldn't be very good.
Yes.
But one or the other in their prime, and Jesse can't be on this list.
Right.
Bobby Heenan is a manager, best of all time.
Oh yeah. It's like all
what a wrestling personality.
Exactly. I mean, all the other people, right? That like you have the Paul Heymans, the Jim Cornettes on this list, and when people say like you're the best of all time, it's like I'll accept your opinion as long as you agree that Bobby Heenan is first.
Okay.
Like they'll all just be like, it's your opinion is not valid if Bobby Heenan is not first.
The number one manager of all time.
The best manager, yeah. What else? Because he just is. He made people hate him, right? He made everyone feel important.
He's the wrestling manager. If you think of a wrestling manager, it's him.
Yeah. Do you know the last person he ever managed?
It would have been before he left. Because he never managed in WCW. You mean the last person he managed in WWF?
No, in wrestling. This is like a weird quirk of he turned up at one promotion.
Okay, so, no, I know.
He turned up at Ring of Honor for a little bit, and he managed CM Punk.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's photographs of it. There's photographs of him in the ring with CM Punk with the title in Ring of Honor and him just going like, "It's my guy."
I have never seen that. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
Never heard that.
Yeah. It's but no, Bobby Heenan is incredible. I mean, to be fair, the reason why I agree with that is because obviously my number one is Bobby Heenan, because if it's not, he's outside my honourable mentions in like 17th, and that would be a crime. So yeah, Bobby the Brain Heenan looks like the way he was on commentary, the way he was
your number
like,
one, eh?
Yeah,
Right.
because he's that guy where like he was a manager while he was commentating. Like he would be on commentary whilst having his guys that he would also be backing up and whatever.
Kind of
like,
for flair, only for flair, really.
And it's
sometimes on those superstars he'd leave commentary and go and like
because for me again with like the stuff that I do with the wrestling promotion here where I'm doing the commentary, I'm like, I'd love to manage someone one day, and it's like, but you can't. Your commentator's like, Bobby Heenan did it. Yeah. Like if Bobby Heenan did it,
that's why I do commentary sometimes with you guys, and they don't want me to do it that much, but I think the general manager can do that the odd time.
Exactly. It's like you can do this stuff. It's like Bobby Heenan. Like obviously, I'm not saying I can do what Bobby Heenan can do, but like it can be done. He showed us that it can be done. That like you can do these things in different ways, and he was just the best.
Yeah, hilarious. My number one, Vince.
Right.
I didn't think you were gonna say Vince. Vince or Bobby Heenan, just because Vince meant more to wrestling. Like, Vince McMahon is wrestling.
Yeah.
He's the best non-wrestler. He turned himself into a wrestler because he was such a good character. Definitely it wasn't part of the plan.
No, exactly.
It was never part of the plan for Vince to be a wrestler. And he had genuinely
good wrestling matches. Like they weren't top tier, but they were
entertaining. Like, you can say entertaining.
Him versus Hogan, him versus HBK.
Yeah, him and Hogan was actually, that might have been my favorite one.
Yeah.
Him and Austin, you wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Right? He bled. He took chair shots.
Yeah.
He did some crazy shit.
But
he's still a non-wrestler. This was all an accident.
Yes.
Heyman did wrestling. Heyman and Cornett, like their tuxedo match is one of the best non-wrestler wrestling matches ever.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these guys have had matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I look at mine, Jim Ross has had a match. Not been good.
Really?
It's usually when like he's been like heel Vince has been like, Jim Ross, you are fighting Kane or something like that. I think
and he chokes him or something.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
remember that. Okay, but whatever.
Heyman's had a match. Mean Gene maybe did.
Back in the day. Yeah, in Minnesota. He's already said that in AWA.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him flexing with Hogan, and he's wearing wrestling gear.
Yeah.
Trunks, boots, and knee pads, and Hogan's flexing too. Hogan's got like baby blue tights on. Weird seeing Hogan in anything but
Howard Finkel has had a tuxedo match. It was terrible.
Yep.
Jim Johnson obviously never on screen. Miss Elizabeth must have been in a match.
I don't. Maybe in WCW, in some like the Russo era, if she was around then. Yeah. But like, never in WWF. Right. She was never. Not that I remember.
Would Paul Bearer have been randomly put in a match with the Undertaker? Like
he got filled up with cement.
Yes.
So I don't know if that was a match.
But yeah, most of these people have had matches.
Yeah.
But no, Vince McMahon just. I mean, obviously,
Vince and Bobby Heenan, like.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're number two. It's pretty much that's a consensus.
Would there even be wrestling would there even be wrestling now, like on television, like in any big way, if Vince McMahon had not done what he did back in the day?
It wouldn't be what it is. Like it would have been a different version of it. So we'll never know.
But like I say, my five,
the way it is, we don't have what we know is wrestling without Vince.
Yeah, but like I say, my five: Heenan, Cornett, Ross, McMahon, Heyman. On a
surprised
day,
by some of yours. I'm surprised you had Corny so high.
Yeah, on a different day, those five could be in many different orders.
Yep.
Like Cornett could be 5, Heyman could be 2.
Good show.
Yeah, I think. Did we have 6 crossovers? That was my guess.
No,
we had Miss Elizabeth. We had Paul Heyman, Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, Cornett, and Heenan,
and Mean Gene. Yeah,
and Mean Gene. 7.
Yeah, you won. Okay,
Boom.
I took the under.
Yeah.
7 crossovers.
Okay, but I don't even wonder if there's anyone we've missed this time. Those are like the most iconic names.
I think we nailed them.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm getting a beer.
Fair enough.
Do your fucking wrap up.
Yeah. So that's our list. Let us know what you think. Obviously, make a comment if there is anyone that we missed. Surely there's a New Japan GM that we possibly forgot, but who knows? Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a great time. Thank you very much for watching.